Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How you doing out there? I'd love to, like have the paper like David Letterman used to do and like tap the papers and like, we're ready to get started. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't know, right?
That seems like every newscast.
Never. Well, Letterman is also what, before your time a little bit, maybe? A little bit before your time. I actually got to go to the Letterman show one day. I don't remember who was on there, but Common was the musician. So I was like, all right, whatever. Anyways, welcome. We talk about the stock market here, not David Letterman, but if I had some papers, I would put them together and say, we've got a show to do today. Anyways, before I get started, if you're one of our clients, I'm going to say this every day. At the end of this week, we're going to start forcing two-factor authentication in the dojo. So essentially, if you don't have it turned on at the moment, you can go turn it on in the settings. But if you don't have it, then when you log in after Friday, it'll just take you right to that page and ask you to do the two-factor authentication. And we're doing that now because now we're putting more information in there. It needs to be a little more secure, obviously. You want your stuff protected. You could download statements and your tax forms and all that. So we've got to put that extra layer of security in there, so just a heads up there. And all that jazz, our new offering where we can manage any of your accounts as a part of what you have here with us, is officially live. We're starting to invite people to that. And so if you were one of those that put your name on our list to let us know you wanted to do that, you're likely going to be invited here soon. And we're really excited about that. That should be pretty cool. Anyways, taking a look at the stock market here today, what do you got? Don't you feel it? Like we're kind of running out of steam here. Take a look at the S&P on the screen. We've got obviously our big pullback, got your 10%. We got a little bit of a rally here. It's about halfway. The Fibonacci traders like to look at things like that. But all that aside, you have the market unable to really show that momentum continuing. Now, that's not really odd. It's normal for there to be a sell-off and some attempt at buying that dip. We know that. That's not new information. But what you have here is a market telling you that this is about the area where it wants to stop for the moment. I don't know if it falls. I don't know if it stops for a minute and turns around and keeps going higher. But it's telling you right now, day to day, that this is about it. This is what we have. Give me some new information to get me excited to buy more. That's essentially what the market's asking, or participants are asking to do. So if you look at the S&P, that's basically what you have. As far as today goes, you've got a lot of stocks that were in the news. It's earnings season, so there's a lot moving around here. I don't want to make this an hour-long show, but you get the idea. Alphabet's in the news. We'll cover that in a minute. Qualcomm after hours with earnings coming out there. You got Marathon Petroleum hitting new highs. We'll cover that as well. Old Dominion, that's earnings. These are some of your top gainers for the day. Match.com off the lows, up 5.2%. AMD with earnings as well. I'll cover that. Bed Bath & Beyond, where are you? Bath & Body Works, I'm sorry. There you go. A little bit of a bounce there. I didn't catch what the results were there. It looks like they have some record sales numbers compared to estimates there. They're doing the share buyback, $1.5 billion in buying back shares. They also raised their dividend quite a bit as well. So that's all earnings related. Earnings up 11%. That would explain that. And you got your names like your Nucor. This continues to bounce. Notice how that one doesn't need more information. That one's saying, hey, we bought the dip, and we're going to keep going, right? Now, a lot different than the market, so showing you a little extra strength there. And then you had some semiconductors that have been a little late to the party. Lam Research, Micron, those all gave you a bounce today. To the downside on the S&P 500, earnings stuff, right? You got PayPal opening at new lows, down 25%. I'll talk about that in a second. I started a new position there for the trading thing. C.H. Robinson and transports in general, a little bit weak across the board. Netflix pulling back after a decent little rally there off the lows and finding out that the CEO was buying more shares. Etsy's a new low for the day. And Twitter, I want to point out, looks like that bounce has taken a bit of a pause. Penn National also just still basically on lows. But that's what the S&P has to offer today. And because it's one of these type of days here where if I go back, because it's an indecision day, like you can't make a decision to invest large sums of money here or sell large sums of money. Right? It's not where we're at in the market. You need more information. And because of that, there's not a whole lot for me to really drill into as we're basically saying, hey, we need more information, right? Now, the Nasdaq, you're getting some of that information here after hours, right, with earnings. So you got your drop, you got your bounce here, and now the Nasdaq's saying the same thing as the S&P. Give me something, right? Give me a catalyst to keep pushing me higher. Otherwise, you got profit taking. In the Nasdaq, well, in S&P as well, You got some earnings out after hours, Qualcomm being one of them. Stock's down to about 181, 182, hovering around in there. So just a small drop. It had a good run throughout the day. It was up like 6%. So hitting a little bit of resistance there, and earnings, although were good, I see nothing immediate. Guidance, maybe a touch lower there, but had a good run up into resistance. It does not look like it's going to break at the moment, although it's recovering little by little after hours, so I'll give it that one. Facebook, I want to point out real quick, the big one that's going to be in the news tomorrow. Facebook's around 252, 253. You see where I got to go to find that number? All the way down here. Holy cow, right? That's 21% or so, 22%. That's a big move. If that opens up down here tomorrow, that's going to be a shocker to everyone who's owned it in the last year, right? Just look. Go back a whole year. Any buyer over the last year right now is looking at a loss, whereas they were looking at least a modest gain prior to earnings coming out. So, whoa, right? Facebook looks like their margins were margins were a little bit lower. They're going to be spending some money for a while. Remember, they're doing the whole metaverse thing. Daily active users a little bit off. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's not like a horrible earnings announcement. But what were we saying before earnings started? It has to be a stellar earnings announcement. Otherwise, you have people going, okay, you're not worth that. Then, if rates are going to go higher, you're going to be spending money and borrowing money. Then you're not worth 323. So all in all, it wasn't a horrible earnings announcement, but it wasn't amazing, and that's what you have for Facebook. Now, looking inside of the Nasdaq here today, because that's what we were trying to stay focused on, PayPal is going to be one of the big ones that drags the Nasdaq today. Netflix as well with its 6% loss. Lucid loses 7%, just a couple bucks there, down to 27.60 after hours, a touch lower there. So no real bounce. Notice the markets tried to bounce, Lucid did not. That's your lesson, right? That's giving you the heads up. No bounce, right? We had the Nasdaq, we had the S&P, we have many stocks out there going, sure, I'm going to recover some of this decline right here. Lucid, nothing, right? A point, right? Like 1 point. And all of a sudden it's starting to roll lower. So that's got to be a heads up there that you got a weak one if you're wanting to look for an entry there, or you own it and you're wondering what's going to happen. Probably a little bit lower. DocuSign lower on the day, Peloton lower on the day, Okada, I always say Okada, it's Okta. Also a little bit lower on the day. And just some of the bigger names, not the bigger names, but some of the more tech names that had been hit on the rising interest rate, revaluation kind of approach that we've had through the month of January. eBay also a little bit lower with earnings, and Airbnb, yeah, a couple other things in there. On the upside there, you're going to have Alphabet. That's your big leader with their news today. We'll cover that in a second. EA Sports, big volatile day for them. Remember, this is a tough one. EA Sports is not one that's an easy one for the short-term trader. And if you're an investor or want to be an investor in EA, you pick a zone rather than a price. Did anybody ever say that before? So there's some stocks where, or even indices or mutual funds and things, where you could basically pick a price that you're happy with. Not going to be the ultimate low. It's not going to be, you're somewhere there. You're really close. Well, with something like EA, you can see that trying to pick an entry price, it would just be pulling your hair out. You're going to pick a zone for EA Sports. Just think of that. There's some stocks that are zone stocks and some that are price stocks, right? EA is definitely a zone stock because look at this move. We had a $10 swing, $12, $15 swing in one day. It's impressive. Other than that, you got your semiconductors, right? AMD, Xilinx, Lam Research, also one of them there. Texas Instruments is right there. There you go. Back to the 200-day moving average, and that's what's leading the way in the Nasdaq. Quick move on over to the Dow. This one's acting a little bit better as far as strength after having this recent bounce here. You got Travelers Insurance today, but really UNH is going to be the heavy mover of the Dow today, as well as Microsoft and Home Depot. Remember, the Dow is a little bit antiquated in how you can be weighted. You're weighted by price. So, for example, if Cisco's a $56 stock. It can have the best day it wants to have, but if all the other stocks in the Dow are lower, Cisco's not moving the Dow. It's only $56. United Healthcare is $479. The higher the price, the more influence you have on the Dow, and so that's what you look at there. Microsoft $313 and Home Depot with a solid $373. Those are your movers today. Some of the supporters, we'll call them. You got Visa Very extended here in the short term, but Visa looking nice and strong. McDonald's as well, and we'll throw in IBM. Right? IBM had a good day. What else do we have? The Russell, a little bit weaker here, refusing to bounce as much. So the Russell is, you would say, is known to be weaker than the rest of the indices. Your small cap funds that you may have, probably not performing as well as the large cap funds, mid cap, anything of the like. So that's something to consider. And then some of the other areas, gold up a touch, right? Chop just continues to be chop. I don't know what else to say. Oil a little bit lower. We got an agreement on OPEC Plus with their output. That wasn't new news, just in there. Bonds moving a touch higher, but continue to be hovering near, yields continue to be hovering near highs, prices near lows, right? So that's where we're stuck at the moment. And the VIX, all over the place. So the VIX getting a little support today. That was at the end of the day as the market started to kind of, we're running out of steam. I don't know what to do. So a little bit tough there. And anytime the VIX has a bit of a quiet day, you're going to know that the VIX ETFs, they're likely going to drag down on you because of the cost to carry. As far as, I don't have it open. So I don't have everything in front of me. As far as the short-term trades, I will say we're going to test it out here after the show. That should be going live here next day or two. We hope everything seems to be working fine. So if you're interested in the short-term type of thing, you're like, look, I'm not really a long-term investor. Or if you're one of our clients that we manage your retirement accounts, but you like to buy and sell things and learn a little bit along the way, we're going to be doing a office trade segment where we just show you everything, right? With no holding back. You get to see if we sold one put on something or 10, or we lost $1,000 or whatever it is. You're going to get to see exactly every single thing that we see. And that's in our research site. It's $13 a month if you want to join us. If you're a client, it's free. Don't pay for it, please. And that'll take care of that. But just to point out today, because I always keep you guys updated here, closed out Nike. There we go, Nike. Closed out the Nike position. I had the 140 puts, closed them for 68% of the total premium there. IWM, I don't have my platform in front of me. So the IWM, I'm going to try to do it. Let me just, while I'm talking, can I get it? So I'm going to try to get it up for you. I sold calls. So I sold puts on this decline here. I sold calls today to make it a strangle, and I don't remember which one it was. It was 215, I believe, but I don't want to lie to you, so we'll just pretend we still have that position. And again, these are, I should know, because these are all real positions. There's no simulation going on here. You'll be able to see all of that. Marathon Petroleum, I sold calls on that one. The 8250 calls looks a little extended to me, and I like, it moved up on the day, so it kind of sell into that. And PayPal, I like the decline on that one. Sold the 110 calls for a lot, 245. Let me see, 245. So I thought that was a lot, taking a shot on that one. And this is not a trade on the market. This is one where we'll be able to explain this in the class. I sold 470 calls on the S&P, not because I believe it's going lower. So that's a key one there. I'll try to reference that as we get things up and running. That was essentially to balance the ship, is the easiest way to say. Oh, 215 calls. I did write it down. So I wrote it on my notes. 215 calls on IWM. So a little bit active today. I would have liked to have done more, but, I have a real job. So this is just for fun. We will be doing the office trades probably at noon every day. It'll be a live thing on the research site. So whatever trades come up, I'll just do them then. I'm not going to try to wait till later or whatever. We'll just have fun with that and see what happens. As we go, for better or worse, you're going to get to see how the hot dog's made. All right, so PayPal was one of the new lows today. That's not rocket science to tell you that. So that's all earnings related, really pummeled. That's a pretty nasty one. And this might have been the hint as to Facebook and some others coming up, right? So Facebook's going to be down 20% as well. PayPal loses 24%. That's not cool. One of the the only other new low actually was Etsy. So there's only two on the day. It loses 10%. That is not looking good either. Again, the market's attempted to bounce. This only got that rebalancing money that we talked about the other day. It did not get real support. So now this isn't really, really weak stock because money came in the other day and that didn't trick anybody into buying Etsy. The money that went there had to go there. The money that probably they were hoping to attract, they're not interested. They go play other stuff. It's relatively weak compared to the market. New highs, there were a total of 27 of them. I tried to pick out a few for you. Raytheon breaking out. If I put my little cursor here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's not extended either, so you like to see those. Marathon Petroleum. There you go. That one broke out to new highs here today. That is going to be earnings. If we look at Marathon Petroleum, I read through the earnings report there. Big earnings beat by 132% of what was expected there. Per barrel margins of 13% more than what the Wall Street was expecting, so that's good. And they're buying back shares. They have bought back a total of 50-ish% of the $10 billion, just over $5 billion, almost $6 billion. They got that done. $5 billion, which is 11% of their total value. $5 billion is 11% of their total value there. They also announced today as well. So really good for Marathon Petroleum. Makes you really second guess what I just did today, but nonetheless, that's what it is. Archer Daniels also hit new highs, very extended. That's one to put on an extended watch list, maybe something you want to look at. All right, Alphabet. Revenues came in 4% better than expected, earnings 12% better than expected, and their operating margins were higher than expected. All of that, and they're still spending less than expected. That's one of the reasons you get such a big move. Your margins are getting better, but you're spending less, right? Cost to acquire a new customer, I'll say it that way, although you wouldn't say it that way for Alphabet, is obviously lower. If you're spending less to make more money, isn't that what we all want to do? Also good news for them is they are doing a 20-for-1 split. And this is just kind of maybe a warning sign, right? They're doing 20-for-1 split. Why would they do that? Is there any reason after all this time they'd have to do that? Well, it could be that they're trying to get into the Dow. And like I just mentioned a minute ago, the Dow's weighting system is sort of antiquated. Could you imagine the impact that Alphabet would have on the Dow if all of a sudden the most expensive stock by almost a factor of 10 shows up in the Dow? That means if Alphabet had a 1% down day, that would move the Dow, right? So knowing that, I think if I had to just, guess, gamble, wager, whatever, I think they're doing the 20-for-1 split to make the price more attractive to the Dow, and maybe they'll get included in the Dow. Now, with that in mind, if that works, who's next? Amazon, right? Think about it. Why would they not do it? They're the next largest there, market cap $1.5 trillion there. They're at $3,000 a share, almost $3,100 a share. So if this works and you find out that Alphabet gets into the Dow or is accepted in the Dow for whatever reason, along the way, you'd expect Amazon to announce a split shortly after. And actually, a fun fact, Jeff Bezos is the only one that can make that decision still. So it would be totally up to one man whether to split Amazon or not. Anyways, some of the other stocks, you got Booking Holdings trading at about $2,500, AutoZone $2,000, Chipotle is at $1,500, Tesla's at $900. Remember, they already did the split. They did a 5-for-1 split. So just a little off topic, but something to point out to you because that's likely going to be in the news. So we'll try to get ahead of it for you. General Motors earnings comes out basically all fine there. They see their pricing strong through 2020 because of limited dealer inventory. There's no limited dealer inventory down here in Florida. If you need to buy a car and you're willing to go for a little bit of a ride, our car lots have. I don't know where we're getting this from. The way I go home, I pass every major name brand car lot every time. They're building more. They're making more room. So what is going on there? PayPal, we already talked about that one there. It guides for earnings 25% lower. That was the main note that I had put off to the side. Starbucks as well. There you go. So Starbucks earnings. So I still have that position, by the way. Earnings is 10% less than expected. Chinese markets, right? My notes show that I was reading through. Chinese markets were a little bit weaker, and I put down sales were down 14%. More than expected. U.S. transactions were up 10%, but their margins also went down. So it's good news for the U.S. It was bad news for China. You get a little bit of a tug of war there. That explains why the stock couldn't really do a whole lot today. And lastly, you got AMD, big mover today, up 5% and helping out the rest of the semiconductors. Earnings come in 23% better than expected, revenue 7% better than expected, and margins 3% higher for AMD. So you'd give them a thumbs up, I would say, overall on the earnings report there. While we're talking, Facebook has recovered just a little bit, right? I kind of hope it opens lower tomorrow by a lot. Well, a couple bucks. It's up 252. It was down to 250 a second ago. So that's what's going on there. And what else do I have for you? I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you're just joining us, remember, if you're a client, we're going to start forcing the two-factor authentication starting at the end of the week. And all that jazz finally coming out after all the talk. And remember, that wasn't the biggest thing. There's something we've been working on that's officially ready to go. We just, one thing at a time. But the biggest thing that any advisor has ever been able to offer to the average everyday person as a part of the service, there's nothing charging more. I'm not doing that game. I don't play that game. But I am so freaking excited about that. And I'm just sort of giving a second here for the stream to catch up so I can answer questions for you if you happen to have any. There we go. People are selling their entire portfolios because they think the worst is coming. Is that guy on YouTube? I saw somebody say something, and then it thought I wanted to see all of that. Now my YouTube's all messed up. Yep. Hey, Scott. Dustin, when banks, Fed raises rates, does net interest income offset slowdown in mortgage originations? Why would the slowdown happen in mortgage originations? I don't think that's going to happen, first of all. So I wouldn't compare the two because I wouldn't say if one, then the other. You expect mortgage originations to level off, of course, right? People are going crazy with this stuff. But we're also not talking about rates going from 3 or whatever to 6, right? That's not the kind of rate hike we're looking at. So I think a lot of people have that in their head. Oh my God, rates are going up. You're talking like, I don't know, 5/8 of a point, maybe, through the first rise there. We've already had our overreaction to the announcement. So I think it just needs to settle in there. Yeah. Two factors PIA until your laptop gets stolen. What are you doing? You're letting people take your laptop, man. Don't let them take your laptop or your phone. You're supposed to keep an eye on that stuff, man. Adam, the Dow is weighted by stock price and not by market cap. You are right. The higher the price, the more impact it has. So that's why everything I said about Alphabet there. Yep. Thoughts on Chevron and your early Super Bowl pick? You don't want my pick, man. Chevron's obviously very strong. It's tough to fight oil stocks, energy stocks, when they're in this trend. I'll say that every time about oil and energy stocks, or oil in general. It's a trending type product. So you get a downtrend, it's very hard to say when it's going to stop, and it tends to trend. Unlike the stock market, which likes to drop then rally back really quick, oil does not typically do that, nor do energy stocks. So the trend is your friend, as they would say, in these ones here. And early pick, I guess you got to go Bengals. Right, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the least watched Super Bowl in recent memory. I'm not excited at all.
I'm not excited. I was going out of town for the weekend. Now I'm actually happy that I'm not going to have to go to like a Super Bowl party. But yeah. What do you pick?
I mean, I think everyone keeps saying Rams, so Rams, but I can name 5 players on both teams.
Yeah.
Rams. I'll take Rams.
You want to bet something then? I'm gonna go Bengals just because I like the quarterback. I'd like to sit around and smoke a cigar with him, man.
He's super nice. He seems like a cool guy. He's your kind of guy.
He seems like somebody I'd like. So I'm gonna go with the story play on this one and just go. I'd like to see that guy win. Couldn't tell you his name.
Joe Burrow.
Burrow.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
We'll figure something out. Yeah, I'll take the Rams.
Take a bet. Let's just go a straight bet. I don't need this whole points thing. I suck at that.
I think you get a lot of points. Technically you should, but
well, let's just go straight play, man. We'll figure it out. We'll come up with something, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals, man, just to have something to cheer for. Otherwise, what am I even doing? I'd rather do anything else. That'll be one where I watch the game somehow. It'll stream in the background, but I'll be just working or doing something else. Would you buy Google at this price before this split? No, I wouldn't, but only because it's extended. I wouldn't buy any stock that's extended. Yeah. There's no, what do I have for you? I had some data up. There's nothing that says I should, right? So you'd want to know, like, hey, if we get a split, does it affect anything? Let's see. What was the last stock to split? Arista Networks and Microchip were the last to split. Slight gains on both of those. And Intuitive Surgical. Well, look at the average, right? So over the last 5 years, every stock that's split, Aflac, Pfizer, TJ Maxx, Fastenal, DuPont, Old Dominion, Apple, Tesla, just to name a few of the names there. If you look out 1 month, the average performance is 1.1%, 1.17%. Median performance 1.23. They're positive 57% of the time. So if you're going to play it for 1 month, all right, the odds are slightly on your side there. It's only outperformed investing in the S&P 39% of the time. So odds are you'd have been better just buying the S&P. It gets better when you go to a 3-month time period. So if you were to buy Alphabet, and then over the next 3 months, you'd have a potential for an average gain of 3.4%, positive 70% of the time. And now you're beating the market. So it would have been a better bet. You have the odds of you buying something that split being positive, but you also have the odds being better than just simply buying the market and walking away. And the same can be said for 6 months. 6 months later, the average gain is 6%, only positive 60% of the time, and would outperform the market if you happen to catch one of those 6 out of 10 times. So I didn't get a chance to make a graphic or anything for you, so sorry. Just kind of might have to rewind that one if you're interested in there. Yeah, Cody wanted the Cowboys. I would have liked to see that too. I mean, there you go. Now you got a Super Bowl people would watch, but well, I don't know. We'll see. You want to check Facebook, PayPal, Tandra. Oh, you actually playing along? You're going to try to buy something. So you're counter trend player. I know you are. So PayPal, yeah, I just from example and actually doing it, I did essentially go long on PayPal today. I would tomorrow on Facebook if that happens to open as low as if it's right here and like doesn't bounce. We're back to 250. So I like that one as a lower play. Let the first 10 minutes play out and then see what you can do. If we're up and running for the live show tomorrow, we'll just do it then. So if this little test after our show goes well, we'll just do a live one tomorrow. It's not going to be fancy, but we'll do it as a test run, and then I'll wait to buy it then. Yeah, huh? Oh, Rams got a new stadium to pay for? Is that what it is? I don't know. This shows how much I follow that. Like, I couldn't tell you.
They did get a really nice new stadium, I think 2 years ago. Very nice.
And where is the Super Bowl this year, by the way?
LA.
Oh, wow. At the Rams stadium? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Wow.
Home field?
I don't think anybody actually goes. I don't think Rams fans go to Rams games.
Oh, that's going to be like the most expensive. Could you imagine what that's going to cost? In LA? I mean, with all that going on there? You got big.
Yeah, I assume that. It's not.
That's not one I'll be able to visit, so I'll have to watch on the illegal streaming service. Oh, man.
First website says starting at $5,500.
Oh, $5,500. And probably every private plane you can imagine will show up. I read the thing that there were over 60 private planes that showed up to the Kansas City game last weekend, which is a record. They're just showing pictures of the parking lot, just planes everywhere, like it was the Super Bowl. The best part was Tom Brady's resignation. The best part of last week was Tom Brady resigning. I like it. Or retiring. I love it, man. Well, we'll see what happens there. That's I can't believe people will pay that, but they'll pay that, you know. And yeah, parking. That's a good point. How much is parking going to be? But the real thing I would want to know is how many people are going to the Super Bowl that probably should not be spending money at the Super Bowl. You get it. There's going to be the wealthy people there, the celebrities. It's in LA, right? You're going to have all the celebrity things going on. But how many people probably shouldn't be spending that much money on a ticket? Like, how many people are really going to regret the fact that they spent that money? Every year I wonder that. You got that kind of money. There are that many people? Jeez. Yeah, Facebook After Hours continues to be brutal. 250. 250 is a magic number where it seems to be stopping at. But you're not here to talk about the Super Bowl, so I'll get out of your way. We'll go test our office trades segment here, and I wish you a good rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, to do it all over again, and I appreciate you watching. Enjoy.